Oh, God. Oh, God is good. I keep telling y'all, street got no God. God do not look after street. Boosie really thought he wasn't going to jail for that pillow. I knew he was going. I just wait.
The things in this case has stopped me from doing traveling all across the world making. So I just want.
Charleston White was celebrating you taking the plea deal. I think he even said he hopes you die in jail and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard.
The biggest thing right now was that you actually accepted a plea deal for your federal gun case.
Yeah.
Boaz might be staring down a brutal 10-year stretch in his federal gun case. And the moment that news hit the blogs, guess who showed up to clown him? Charleston White. The second the case went public, Charleston hopped on live like it was his birthday, laughing non-stop and saying he always knew Boosie would end up locked up. He even bragged that he had been waiting for this moment and then pushed it even further, claiming he wouldn't care if Boosie never made it back out. But here's the twist. Boosie already told fans earlier this month that he accepted a plea deal because he was exhausted from the fight. He said it felt like the smartest option, even though the case had already been thrown out once before. Prosecutors came back swinging in 2024, re-indicted him, and now the stakes are higher than ever.
Feds picked it up.
Now, it was a state case. The feds came, picked it up. They had a ruling in the Supreme Court that went in my favor, and the case got dropped by the judge. The case got dropped.
Boosie could actually be facing a decade behind bars. While Boosie is out here posting emotional messages about trusting God and admitting he's drained, Charleston White is online straight up popping champagne like it's New Year's Eve. Boosie's legal battle has been dragging on for years, but this gun case is the one that really locked him in a corner. He got caught as a felon with a firearm, a charge that's already hard to beat.
Go to trial with it from the dump, actually, but I feel like this the right move for me. I trust in God.
At first, things actually looked promising when the case got dismissed in 2023. Fans thought the nightmare was done and he could finally focus back on music and family. But the feds weren't letting go that easy. By 2024, they came right back with a re-indictment on the exact same charge, basically saying, "Nice try, but we still coming for you." That's when Boosie finally cracked and took the plea deal. He even admitted on X, "I thought this case was over and I was going to get on with my life. But God don't make mistakes, and I'm tired of fighting." This wasn't just another setback. It was the moment everything Boosie had been running from finally caught up with him.
Going to jail! Oh, God! Oh, God is good. I keep telling y'all, street ain't got no God. God do not look after street. Boosie really thought he wasn't going to jail for that pillow. I knew he was going. He going to jail. All that newborn baby. Boosie won't get to see that newborn baby till that baby be walking and talking. Boosie going to jail!
When the news broke, fans flooded his mentions with love and support. But you could see it clear. Boosie was crushed by it. This wasn't the same Boosie who used to troll online or clap back at every critic with fire. This was a man who sounded worn out, drained. His post carried that heavy mix of faith and resignation, like he was forcing himself to accept whatever was coming. And people who've been locked into Boosie's story for years know this ain't new. He's been dodging bullets both on the streets and in courtrooms since his early days in Baton Rouge. Surviving cases, surviving beefs, even surviving serious health scares. It's been one fight after another, but this time it hits different. 10 years ain't some slap on the wrist, and you could feel that weight in every single word Boosie typed. While fans were trying to lift him up with love, Charleston White was doing the exact opposite. He went live grinning ear to ear, bragging like he called this from the jump. Charleston flat out said he never believed Boosie would dodge this case, and now that the sentence is staring him in the face, he's more than happy to rub it in.
Brought you up because you were attacking Kanye because of the
Nah, it's Kanye West. It just happened. Been coming at me. He been coming at me. It's just, I can't respond to those people, bro. Like, that's a danger to what I got going on. Can't take no risk of losing this behind.
Charleston even went as far as saying he hopes Boosie dies in jail. Wild words even for him. But then again, this is the same man who built a whole career out of being hip-hop's loudest troll. The sting was even sharper because Bowie hadn't even had time to process his sentencing before Charleston flipped it into a live comedy act. Now, Charleston trolling is nothing new, but his obsession with Boosie feels way too personal. Every time Boosie runs into legal drama, Charleston pops up instantly, almost like he's waiting for it. That's why fans are asking, why does Charleston White hate Bowie this much? It's clearly deeper than random internet trolling. These two got history, and this beef has been cooking for years. This whole mess goes back to late 2022 when Kanye West had the world buzzing with that White Lives Matter shirt. Boosie spoke out, calling it disrespectful to black people. And honestly, most folks were rocking with Boosie's stance at the time. But Charleston White, he wasn't having it. He jumped online blasting Boosie just for daring to speak on Kanye. And that's when things spiraled.
I ain't really got no opinion on him because, my opinion can send me to prison. So I ain't really, I ain't really got no opinion on him, once you go to threaten people's kids, talking about you gotta lie. So, I ain't the one gonna do all that. I ain't gonna do all that.
Instead of keeping it between him and Boosie, Charleston crossed a line, dragging Boosie's son, Toddy Raw, into the beef. And even Ty's son, King Harris. He straight up called them ugly, said they couldn't fight, and even predicted they'd end up in jail. That's when everyone realized Charleston wasn't just another internet loudmouth. He was willing to go way below the belt, even targeting kids just to hurt their parents. What shocked people most was how calm Boosie stayed. Instead of snapping back like fans expected, he kept it low-key. In an interview with Tony the Closer, he explained that speaking his mind too much could land him right back behind bars, especially when someone drags kids into the crossfire. So instead of going wild, Boosie held back and kept his response cool. In that interview, he broke down exactly why he refused to snap the way fans expected. That line told you everything. Boosie wasn't scared of Charleston, but he knew Charleston was the type to bait him into saying something reckless that could land him back in jail. So instead of taking the bait, Bowie stayed calm, at least on the surface. But by early 2023, the tension was boiling over and this beef was on a whole new level.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, hey, certain people you can't really express opinions on, and he one of those. You can't express how you feel because you might end up in prison. I ain't getting tricked off the streets.
Charleston was already trolling Ty over that messy paperwork party when Boosie's son Tootie finally decided to fire back. He called Charleston Old Messy and even told him to go die. And of course, Charleston being Charleston, he didn't just clap back. He cranked it up 10 times louder. Charleston went live saying, "I hope your daddy die from that diabetes. I hope they don't send the insulin over 1 month. Like, who even talks like that?" He straight up wished death on Boosie just to get under his son's skin. And then not long after, Tootie actually got arrested for guns. Charleston popped out immediately, taking credit for it. He bragged about calling the police, sending in pictures, and even tipping off the Department of Public Safety. Then he doubled down, claiming the cops were already watching Tootie because Boosie was a 6-time convicted murderer who used children to kill people. That was the breaking point. This beef wasn't just trolling anymore. It had turned into real-life damage. And it didn't stop there.
White folk Boosie, you done got too much. You done let these niggas play you too mother. This internet book, dumb image. Say what Lil Tootie gonna do now? What Lil Tootie say? Listen, Vlad TV. Vlad post everybody going to jail but Boosie. Somebody tag Vlad TV.
Barely 3 months later, Boosie himself got arrested again in San Diego right after a court hearing. Charleston couldn't wait to clown him. He hopped on Instagram Live saying this was all God's plan. Even comparing Boosie to Daniel in the lion's den like prison was some divine test he had to survive. Charleston flipped Boo's arrest into a full-blown sermon, making it sound like Boo's pain was some kind of divine punishment. Fans couldn't even tell if he was being dead serious or just trolling for laughs. But either way, it came off cold and disrespectful. Months later, Boosie finally broke his silence on Vlad TV. He admitted he didn't even want Vlad interviewing Charleston after all the nasty comments he made about Tootie. And once again, Boosie made it clear. He wasn't scared of Charleston. He was just focused on staying free. His own words proved it. Still, even with Boosie playing it cool, you could tell Charleston was living rent-free in his head.
I can't respond to that because once I see a man go up there and say he gonna put you in prison, even if you threaten him or say something about him and he's got facts to where he's put people in prison, I can't take a chance of getting involved with that.
Well, listen, I don't want anything to happen.
He's like, I'm a call.
By early 2024, the beef had spilled even deeper into internet culture. Aiden Ross was supposed to bring Boosie on stream, but Boosie didn't want the headache of Charleston's name getting dragged into it, so he skipped out. Next thing you know, Aiden twisted the whole story, claiming he turned Boosie down out of loyalty to Charleston White. That lie spiraled all over the internet until DJ Vlad jumped in, dragging Aiden for siding with a dude who had literally praised Hitler and denied the Holocaust. The whole fiasco showed just how far Charleston's shadow stretched. Even young streamers were tossing his name around as clout currency, and still Charleston wasn't letting up. By March, he was back online again, this time claiming Boosie had allegedly told promoters not to book him. He spun it into another rant, bragging that he'd already contacted the feds and was ready to get Bowie locked up over what he called threats. And just to twist the knife deeper, he dragged Boo's health into the mix, trying to make his insults sting on a whole different level.
In jail, waiting for the FBI to send me the right kind of number, and I'm finna make a report on your mother people. You make the man call your name specifically. The promoter specifically said your mother ain't Lil Boosie. He implemented you and implicated you. Finna go to jail, back to jail. You gonna be on your knees, but them knees gonna be bleeding.
It's really not far-fetched because Charleston has a long history of snitching and he's never been shy about it. According to reports, when Charleston was just 14, he got caught up in a robbery with some other teens. During that robbery, one of them, Antoine Doolittle, shot and killed a man named Michael Levy. When it came time for court, Charleston took the stand and testified against him. Now, in street culture, that's unforgivable. Even though he was only a kid, people still drag him for basically telling on someone from his own crew. But Charleston doesn't run from that label. He actually leans into it. He's defended himself by saying, "I was young. I was in court. I told the truth." That's not snitching, that's survival. Here's Charleston justifying it in his own words. But here's the wild part. Recently, footage from that old juvenile case resurfaced online and the internet lit up all over again. People started blasting Charleston as a hypocrite, saying, "You can't preach street code one day and then brag about testifying the next." And here's the clip everybody's been using to drag him for it. But Charleston doubled down, proudly saying he's never lived by no street code and doesn't care who's mad. And the hammer back on the gun, and then what happened? He fired, which is crazy because this is the same guy who still calls other rappers rats while openly admitting he snitched himself. Stack all that together, and it's easy to see why people are side-eyeing Boosie's decision to skip trial and grab that plea deal. The last thing he wanted was to risk a courtroom where Charleston White might pop up, run his mouth, and flip the whole thing upside down. After all, this is the same man who brags about calling the cops, setting people up, and still takes pride in testifying as a teenager. If Charleston had even the slightest chance to be involved, you already know he would have turned that courtroom into his own personal stage. Picture him pointing fingers, cracking jokes at the jury, then hopping on live right after bragging, "I helped put Boosie away." That's not wild imagination. That's exactly how Charleston moves. And that's why he's celebrating so loud right now. To him, this isn't just Boosie caught up in another case. It's karma. In his eyes, it's proof that everything he's been screaming, all the trolling and mocking, is finally hitting home. When you line it all up, the beef sparking in 2022, the shots at Tootie, the arrests, the non-stop clowning, and the snitching stories, it almost feels like Charleston has been waiting, maybe even praying for this exact moment where Bowie is staring down a possible 10 years. Right now, Bowie isn't locked up yet. But with that plea deal sitting on the table, the reality is he could be headed to prison for a full decade. Meanwhile, Charleston White is out here clowning like he's already claimed victory. And the streets are split between laughing and bracing to see if the hammer really drops. But here's what hits the hardest. If Charleston is this loud while Boosie is still technically free, just imagine the circus he'll unleash if Boosie actually gets sentenced. This story is far from over, and you don't want to miss what's next. So, hit that like button, drop a comment, and make sure you subscribe for